He wasn't smart enough to get out in front of that one. Sometimes you think you're smarter than the next guy, and you end up in the back of the bus. Hey guys, we're talking about Andrew Tate. Adam, I hear he's out.
There's been a lot to follow over the past month since he went in and he lost his appeal to be released. But as of today, Andrew Tate is out.
So let me ask you, they arrested him, and then I saw a deal where they let him out 40 hours later, and then they put him back in. Is that what happened?
Yeah, he had to appeal his jail time while the Romanian legal system is compiling their case against him, right? And what I've found a little tricky to follow throughout every little thing that comes out, did he say this? Did he do this? Here's this video that happened there. We're also dealing with a legal system with separate standards and actions that you can take. So I've always tried to take everything that's been coming out with a grain of salt. What's really happening there has been my question.
Well, and their legal system is so different. I mean, it's
yeah. I mean,
you're actually guilty over there until you're not. Unlike here in the United States.
I would say nearly completely unfamiliar with it. So right. Yeah, I never studied Romanian law or judicial systems at all.
No, Romanian law is way over my head. I tell you. Anybody out there know anything about Romanian law? Comment, please.
Leave it in the comments.
Let us know what's going
please. On. Yeah,
because we're a bunch of dummies when it comes to that.
Now, what I do know is there are some things you can say publicly that will make your case look worse. And I think that is kind of apparent across legal systems. And if you dig into some of Andrew Tate's statements, there's certainly a way that a jury could interpret a lot of them in negative light.
Well, he's a hothead. I mean, he's full of hot air. I mean, that's his shtick, right? That's how he makes his money and does his thing. I think, this whole... What's that company that he's got?
The live streaming webcam services.
The webcam.
Where you got girls telling you how big your dick is and stuff like that. I think he's got a couple of those. So
that sounds like it's a pretty damn good business, but it also seems like it could have some issues. How do you know if you got these men and women, I'm guessing, all around the world on these webcams, how do you know how old they are? If they're doing it, that they want to be doing it? I mean, how does that even work?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of the business model is you don't know.
Right.
And you're just sitting there with sweaty palms and a wallet in your hand, paying minute by minute, blowing through your savings.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Well, he's making oodles and oodles of money, so something's working there.
Yeah. So here's something he had said about moving to Romania and getting out of the UK when he was starting a lot of these things. It was kind of when he was voicing a lot of backlash against Me Too era stuff.
Right.
He said probably 40% of the reason Andrew Tate, moved to Romania is that their rape laws and sexual assault laws don't fly in Romania.
What?
None of those accusations are heard as much. For men living in any Western country, they've decided to live somewhere that any woman at any point in the future can destroy your life.
Well, that's true.
He said, I'm not a fucking rapist. I just like the idea of being able to do what I want.
See, the problem is sometimes your mouth can't cash that check because your mouth gets a little too big for your britches. And I think that's what happened with him. And listen, that one phone call about that one chick that said she was a prisoner at his house, we know that wasn't true now because they have the video on it and they came out and the judgeship said, that just gave us, PC, probable cause. But who knows if it's true or not? I mean, if it's true, he needs to go down and go down hard. But if it's not, it's a sleazy frickin' business, but it's business.
It's interesting that you bring that up about how none of them were in prison because he explicitly said that women were not allowed to leave the house when they were staying with him. He said, I'm all over the place, so I end up with these chicks that just get stuck in the house, sitting there bored, completely in love with me. And of course they don't go out. They're not allowed out. You don't go to the club with your friends. I don't know what kind of bitch-ass dude is letting his chicks go to the club without him. No. You stay in the house. You don't go nowhere. No restaurants, no clubs, nothing.
Okay, I'm completely ignorant when it comes to the Romanians and how they live and do all that. But a lot of those countries, women don't go out unless, they're with their husbands, or they're most of the times with their husbands, or in a huge pack of ladies, right?
Those countries is an interesting way to say that. Do you mean like Eastern European and Middle Eastern countries?
Middle Eastern, that's what I'm more referring to.
Where you kind of have that interchange between like traditional like Christian Orthodox views as well as like some Islam and post-Ottoman influence?
Islamic.
Okay.
They don't, Muslims, they don't, the women walk behind the men. They're very subservient, but that's their culture.
Yeah.
I don't know this culture.
This sounds a little different to me.
Is it because they want it to sound a little different and he's this big hype guy? And I'm not defending him, but what I'm saying is he is this hype guy, right? So he's got to always act more flamboyant and bigger than everybody else, right?
Yeah. And I think that's a part of where his persona is going to work against him. Absolutely. As we see this progress.
Sure.
Yeah.
He wasn't smart enough to get out in front of that one. Sometimes you think you're smarter than the next guy, and you end up in the back of the bus.
Well, we do know how he would have liked to get out in front of this one, because we have pretty well documented comments about how he likes to be able to bribe people. While he was on a podcast in August of 2022, he said, "I like Eastern Europe because corruption is far more accessible. I find it offensive." Look, and at that point...
Okay, wait a minute. Andrew, I'm liking you a lot more now, okay?
But at that point, you have somebody on your PR team or somebody there who's like, "Hey, let's take a 5. Let's take 5 minutes real quick." He said, "I find it offensive that a police officer in England will stop me and refuse to take a bribe."
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of that's hyperbole. That's a guy that's...
He's being pretty
He's
clear.
a shock jock,
Yeah.
And he is a shock jock,
yeah.
Okay? Come on. So I don't take any of that stuff to heart, really. I think it's a young man just talking bullshit, right?
I don't think so. I think he is a smart guy.
Sure.
In the sense that he knows what he wants and he knows how he's going after it. I don't think he's a smart guy in the way he has presented himself or thought about what he's saying. Free speech is super important. There's no two ways around that. But it's also really good to think before you say anything and really do some soul searching and say, is what I'm about to say actually representative of how I should act as a human being?
Well, and this is completely off topic, but look at the Wolf of Wall Street, right? People, they get on that path where they just take off like a rocket ship and everything's going just great for them, where they can do no wrong. And, hey, I'm on top of the world, Ma.
Sure. You've got people all around you, both in your business, personal life, that are supporting everything you're doing and reinforcing whatever possibly and probably negative behavior is helping you get there. And you don't kind of take the second to check yourself and say, is this better for me long term?
I just hope it's all hyperbole and that the guy's really not, this evil cat that people make him out to be. But hey, at the end of the day, in my world, bro, you're innocent until you're not, right?
Yeah. Well, that is certainly how it is here. And again, if you've got anything concrete about the Romanian judicial system, we would love to hear that info, and we would love to hear your thoughts on how his statements are going to go over in court.
Yeah, and where you stand, let us know, guys. Hit that comment, hit that subscribe, hit that like. We love you guys.